Thank you, Mrs. Lu.
Can you help me just restart again? This thing had the same problem again. Okay. Okay. Let's restart again. Hello everybody.
Hello.
Yes. Okay, good evening. Oh, shucks. Okay, I haven't on this one first.
Okay. Just like it, right?
Yes. Okay. Hello, hello.
Hello.
You can get started.
Hello.
Yes. Okay, today it's good to see everybody streaming. Sir, you gotta come a little bit.
Okay,
straight.
come.
No, we have to squeeze a little bit.
I'm sure a bit.
Yeah. Okay. This one, I don't know why it's a little bit singing, but never mind. Okay. So this Mr. Dragon Tan. Okay. He has a unique name. His real name is Noel, but everybody call him Dragon.
That's a trade name.
Okay. Yeah, that's a trade name. He's no small fry. He's really very successful in the real estate business. Most importantly, we get to know, I brought him in because he knows exactly what's happening on the ground right now in Singapore. Okay, so all the statistics you get now, like in stock market now, that you get 1 or 2 months or 3 months later is too late already. So the best thing I want to do right now is to get someone on the ground to tell us what exactly is happening on the ground. Yeah. So I hope that you appreciate. First of all, you appreciate by doing what?
Like and share. Don't be so meow, okay?
Yeah, okay, you copy my term. Too soft cannot hear. Clarence, everybody on YouTube, can you hear me?
Too soft cannot hear.
We are very quiet environment there. Yeah, I suspect you need to turn on your volume. Okay, but those on those on Facebook, can you also hear the blast of light?
Okay, Mike mentioned that he can hear.
Okay, yes, Mike can hear. Who else have who has a hearing problem? So Clarence is your speaker. You gotta turn on the volume. Okay. Yes. Okay. So So remember, right? So if everybody is coming in and streaming in, let me turn on the brightness. I can't see very clearly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I hope that I hope you appreciate a guest speaker coming. He's appearing on our channel for the 3rd time. Okay, everything he say has always come to pass. Okay, so I know a lot of people say, "Well, Mr. Lu, you don't believe in property and all this kind of thing." Okay, but I always listen to his thing on the ground. When I was in Europe, I also call him, "Hey, Noah, what's happening right now?" Right? So yes, I'm back in Singapore right now with Ken here. Okay, so those people on Facebook, can you give a blast of light and say hello so that I know you guys are there? I cannot see any comments at all. I suspect it's a Facebook problem again. And a few days ago, a Facebook problem.
On the Facebook, right?
Yeah. Okay. So the format that we have is this. Thank you. I suspect there's a Facebook problem. Let me see whether there's a Facebook issue. Okay. So today, it's coming. It's just a delay. Yeah. Okay. So good to go. Okay. So I would like you all to welcome Mr. Dragon Tan. Okay, Mr. Dragon Tan has been a real estate specialist. He's known as the EC King. He trade a lot of executive condominium. He himself stayed in one. Okay, and rented out one recently. Right. Okay, and he has a lot of real estate experience and things like that. Even today, he has got, can I say not? The six open house.
Oh, yeah, okay lah. It's normal.
Today he has got 6 open house. Can you imagine how successful he is, right? I'm very proud of him, right? He's a very humble man. Okay, very humble man. I learned a lot from him. Okay.
I learned from Mr. Lu as well. Yeah. He was my idol, in fact.
No, please don't say that. Yeah. So good. Okay. So today the format will go is this. I'll get Dragon Tan to give us an update on the ground. Right. A lot of people say, "Oh, Mr. Lu, the property market is going to crash. What's happening on the ground right now? What mam zai? I also don't know. Right. So, and what is happening overseas right now? Okay, is a phenomenon. But what happened in Singapore might be unique. So Dragon is on the ground right now. It's just like I'm pretty on the ground with respect to the stock market and all this, but he's on the ground with the property market. So we hear it from him, right? So we're going to hear him give a maybe about a 10-15 minute description of what's happening on the ground right now. Then we have a Q&A session. How about it? Okay? So you will benefit tremendously from an expert like him. So I require everybody who is on YouTube to all give a like and hit subscribe and follow, okay? And the bell, the alert bell. How about that? Okay, the rest on Facebook, give a blast of light as we all welcome Mr. Dragon Tan. Yay!
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lu, for the invite tonight. Okay, before I start the whole thing, probably I just update you some of the.
講回啊，咪要啊。
Oh, my you okay.
Because
I tried to
the phone will have earthquake.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think some of you who are keeping track of property news and update, I think you are aware that there's a new launch today. It's called the Lentor Modern. Correct? Now, I just gotten an update just only 1 hour plus ago. It's selling from around 1009 plus to 2004, 2005 PSF, that range. And today is close to around 84% that is sold. 84% that is sold. Now, based on this kind of new launch phenomenon, when the buyer can accept PSF, I'm talking about price per square foot, PSF, 2002 to 2003. Typically, right, it means some kind of support. And I reckon, this is my own personal opinion, I'm not a god, I don't have a crystal ball, but it's based on rational thinking. So any resale that's around the new launches that's able to sell well, typically they're selling at 2002, 2003, and so long as not too old, typically there will be I learned this word from you when I attend your CPF talk in Suntec.
Sure.
The arbitrage.
There's
a price arbitrage, the price buffer. But it's not going to be overnight, alright? Because property is, after all, still a big ticket item. But there'll be a time where the consumer or the buyer, they realize that, and the paradigm will start to shift to resale as well. So I foresee, so long the new launch are selling well, the resale market will continue to do well. So this is what I shared with Mr. Lu earlier before that when I reached his place. Now, and just now Mr. Lu was mentioning that I had 6 open house today. Of course, I do a lot of mass market like HDB and resale condo or resale EC as well. Alright, I do new launch as well. Now, so basically, just to share with you, what is this 6 open house for? Because currently on hand, I have a portfolio of around 20 plus listing.
20 plus houses to sell. Some agent will be happy they only have 1.
No, so this is currently in the market. For the HDB, typically depend on the location and on area. It's not hard to find. Probably one viewing, I can have 8 to 10 buyers, or sometimes I can have more than 10 buyers per viewing session or per open house.
8 to 10.
8 to 10. It can be more than 10 as well.
Really?
And
is it a hot area or?
It can be in places like, because I'm staying in Sengkang.
Yeah.
To me honestly, I'm staying in Sengkang Punggol used to be kampong lah, put it this way lah.
I used to stay in Punggol.
So anything that is outskirt, right, to be honest, is still kampong. Alright? Anything that is CBD, of course, is Orchard area, Shenton Way. Anything that is city fringe, the Hokkien say Tua Chi Ku, So city fringe, of course, is like places like Toa Payoh, Boon Keng, Queenstown. So these are different areas. Of course, outskirt, I always call it kampong. It's still kampong lah. Okay? Now, it's not hard to find people going for kampong with each open house will have 10 or 10 plus buyer. And these are my own experiences. Over the last 2 closing, that was last weekend. I actually can have 2 or 3 bidding for the same house. And then for often or not, typically when there's a contender, we will go for a close bidding these days. Yeah. But where do all these buyers come from? The profile. They can be from Singaporean young couple, because the BTO is the time for the completion is being delayed, so that's one reason. Number 2, they can be for PR, okay? Because PR, but however PR to buy HDB resale, they need to fulfill 3 years PR status. Okay, without so they have to buy condo. So this is something that the government policy. Alright, just like, continue to we need to reach out to more people so that everyone can benefit from it. Alright. So the PR and government has been protecting the Singaporean priority, because HDB is meant for a public housing. So typically, Singaporean rightfully to have a priority. And you take a look at how generous government is during your time versus during our time. Our time, the grant is probably 30-40K. These days, the grant can be 80K to 100K.
Is it?
Yes.
How come?
It depends on the young couples, first timer, depend on their income as well. If they are of the lower income, there will be an enhanced housing scheme.
How much is the grant right now?
It can be up to 40K, and first timer another 40K, 50K.
For resale?
For resale. And then if they are staying close
To their
with
parents?
their parents or staying together with their parents, there's this proximity grant as well.
So altogether?
It can be 100+K.
Really?
Depend on the category of the income.
Wow,
first
I didn't
timer.
even know that. Okay.
A lot of benefit.
Okay.
So where else can you find? Okay, I'm not speaking on behalf of government. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's just that where else in the whole world can you find government is being so generous and so supportive? Of course, sometimes we KB lah, this and that certain policy. But to be honest, and where else can you find a safe environment, a safe place like Singapore?
Yeah.
Right. So this is happening in the market right now. Now, when it comes to resale condo or resale EC, my own experience is that I encounter a lot of PRC, single buyer, and they're very young, probably in the late 20s to early 30s. They are buying those condo as well as those resale EC that is probably in the range 900K to 1.2 million, and they're coming in. Now, what's the reason?
This one you gotta listen. I was shocked at this reason, and this is something unique to Singapore. Okay, and that will give you the answer to will the Singapore property market crash or not crash. Okay, and once you hear it, please everybody remember give a like and follow. Okay, yes, go on.
Okay, that's the reason why the PR are buying. Now, typically the PR and the foreigner, all right, they are not motivated to purchase any property in Singapore. To be honest, probably a HDB, yes, but when it comes to condo, it's a bigger ticket item. But however, the pre-COVID and the post-COVID, we see a huge increase in the rental prices. A 3-bedroom condo in Kampong area, outskirts, during the before the COVID can be around 2002 to 2003 or to 2005, a 3-bedroom premium. Premium means something that is with a storeroom, a bigger 3-bedroom version. Currently, you can be renting as high as the higher range of 4,000 plus to 5,500. So rental has increased by almost 80%. I would say 100%. So it doesn't. So to the PR and to the foreigner, they are already thinking. If let's say you put yourself into their shoe, you have to put yourself into other people's shoe. It's called wisdom. Then you can start to realize that how this person feel and what is the explanation for this person's particular behavior and action. So we always have to put ourselves into other people's shoe. So if you put yourself into the shoe of the PR for renting houses, suddenly your rental used to be some sort of like 2,500, it's right now 4,500 to 5,000. You'll be thinking this, I should really buy something.
Correct.
I'd rather pay installment for myself than paying rental for another landlord.
This is very critical, okay? This has never happened before. We always think that the prices, the resale prices set the rental. But we never thought of the reverse. Because a lot of foreigners are coming in, they push up the prices for rental. And this PR, a lot from China, from India, from Amor country or whatever, they've been renting comfortably for many years or a few years, it doesn't matter. Singapore is such a nice place. Suddenly all these people come and compete their rental. The rental double. They say, I got two choices, right? I can rent or I can buy. But since I already paying so much, I might as well buy. And that's why now what Dragon Tan is saying, the rental market went up so much. All the PRs who are renting now are thinking of and actioning on buying. And guess what happened to the resale market? Yeah, sorry.
Alright, Ken, come and be my neighbor. Oh yeah, correct. Who is this Neoli? Yeah, correct. If you happen to go to my YouTube channel, I did quite a number of videos for my neighbors because I'm staying in this particular EC called the Vales. So probably since MOP till now, I've transacted about 18 units, both in rental and in purchase and sales for my fellow neighbors. Thanks for their trust as well. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on. Shall
Okay,
we?
so let's go on.
So talk about describe the just now you described to
So
me.
what happened after the borders open, right?
Yeah.
So initially when the borders open, probably you can get something from YouTube or probably some YouTuber or probably the fellow property agents, Facebook, TikTok. They're saying that the rental market will crash because the border open. A lot of the Malaysian fellow profession or blue collar workers, right, they will leave Singapore. But in fact,
The reverse.
it's the reverse. More foreigners are coming in who are the expats from all over the world. Because I'm doing sales, because I haven't introduced myself, probably just to let you know a bit of my background. I'm a trainer in this particular training school called the RCN in Toa Payoh. So I train agent as well. At the same time, I keep sharing to thousands of agents in my company, PropNext. Alright. At the same time, I enjoy doing sales because by doing sales, I can get to know what is happening on the ground. And what is being reflected today in the data is what happened 3-4 months later. So this market is always very dynamic. We don't know what happened next. So probably by the time when you get to know the data for today, it's probably 3 months later.
2 months late.
It's always reflecting probably 1 quarter later. So typically, I love to do sales because you're always on the ground. Now, so talking about the border, what happened after the border opened in May? I noticed on the ground a lot of expats from all over the world they're coming, except China. Alright, I still have PRC expats, but they are already stationed in states, probably in Europe, Holland,
On Russia, sorry, not Russia, sorry. From
Russia,
Australia, sorry.
yeah, from
Australia or
all
whatever.
parts of the world except China because it's still having a lockdown. Alright, so there's a strong demand from them as well as a lot of our expats from India because they're supporting the IT basically and the banking sector. So this is what I see, and they're telling me it's very scary when it comes to rental because they really need to outbid each other in order to get the place they want. So this is the overall ground movement. And I was telling Mr. Lu just now, typically for Singapore prices to remain stable or probably stable, we need 2 indicators. These are my own indicators. Number 1, the rental price. Alright. So long the rental price is stable, it's not dipping, it's going up. I believe that it will motivate and encourage a lot of PR to start to come back into the resale market because they rather pay their own installment than paying rental. So number 2, the employment rate. Now, how can the property market in Singapore crash when the employment rate is so high? And MNC are coming into Singapore to start the plants, to pour in the money to start the offices here. And one thing I agreed with Mr. Lu back then during one of his talk, China has yet to open the border. China has yet to open the border.
They open
Because I feel that if once China open the border,
a whole
the high net worth individual, 就是有钱人呐, uli one呐, those atas one呐, they want to find a place to come out because probably of certain policy that they may not be comfortable with. Common prosperity. So imagine yourself, if let's say you are a high net worth individual, you hear the word common prosperity, you will care one, you will worry a lot. Because one day your money become somebody's money. Alright? You want to come to another country. But where is the safest place in Asia? Taiwan? 可以去吗? Cannot. You want to go to war back then. But probably it's some issue.
insecure.
Hong Kong can go or not? Probably not. Of what happened 2 years back during the protest. Yeah. How about Malaysia?
Go for holiday can.
Probably the Iskandar story has frightened many of them.
Yeah.
Especially a certain project like the recent one, the forest one. Yeah.
What is it now? Now forest really become forest, is it?
I think that the occupancy rate doesn't. It's very low occupancy.
Is it?
And probably more like there's a lot of YouTube video.
Oh, really?
So they are picturing that
Okay.
it's largely the unoccupied. Yeah.
Okay.
So where is the safest place in Asia? Singapore has proved itself during COVID. If let's say I'm a high net worth individual, I want a place that's safe for my children and to protect my wealth, definitely Singapore. I'm very confident. So I think that we have to think ourselves that we are so blessed to be born in Singapore. 头对胎.
Yeah. So just to sum up, there's a huge influx of foreigners in Singapore since the market opens up. And remember, the Manpower Minister has actually announced that they're gonna bring in a lot more foreigners, high net worth, high salaried, and highly skilled ones. And I tell you, the whole world is messy right now. Europe is messy. We know that, right? China is messy. Russia is messy. Okay. The only arguably US is okay, but these are huge region, huge region. And what do you think they flock to? They flock to safe lands. Yeah, they flock some to the US. They'll come to Singapore, and you're right, Singaporeans will be priced out, sure, time safe.
We have HDB, alright, we still have HDB.
So therefore, all the foreigners come in, they cannot, it's very difficult for them to buy, right? It's very, now not say cannot, because the ABSD I didn't know, now is 30%, plus the stamp duty is 33%. You buy 1 million, you gotta pay 1.3 million. Very few people, foreigners, will do that.
I was sharing with Mr. Lu. Today I conduct 6 open house, and of course, for the condo and EC open house, right? In fact, interestingly, there are 2 groups of foreigners who came to view my EC without the knowledge that they need to pay 30%. And then number 2, they without the knowledge that actually EC, right? For the first 10 years, you cannot sell to foreigner. You can only sell to Singaporean and PR. So I think that the government has a lot of policy, because I have 2 groups of foreigners who came to view my my listing. It's a resale EC. So in a way that I think the government has used a lot of measures to protect Singaporeans. So imagine, because since 2010, the first measure is in 2010 after the Lehman Brothers 2008 crisis.
Yeah.
We have around probably 13 measures, 12 to 13 measures from 2010 until 2022. That was last year December. The last one was last year December. Alright, imagine if all these measures are all removed. I ever asked a Chinese PRC client of mine. We were having Hai Di Lao at MBS, so I asked him this question, and guess what he answered? Of course, we converse in Mandarin, that's Chinese. He gave me 3 words. He answered me with 3 words. 炒到烂. If all these measures are removed, the price will just escalate sky high. So thank God we have all these measures.
Yeah. So I think it's very important for us to realize that the underlying condition in Singapore may be a bit different from that of Europe, okay, and US and all these places. Now, I said before that US market is, the property market is the price is coming down now. London is coming down. Australia is coming down. New Zealand is coming down. A lot of places coming down. But they don't attract that much foreigner. I didn't know that, okay? But now on the ground, we have got Mr. Dragon Tan actually telling us right now, on the ground right now, there's an immense amount of demand, okay, for rental. And these foreigners that come, they can't buy property easily because of ABSD, so they rent, but they push out those PR that have the choice to buy or to rent. And the PR move up, and guess what? The whole layer just stacks up. All the property prices shoot up. Okay? Those people who cannot hear, either you up the volume or you jump to YouTube, okay, and you'll be able to hear. We have got more than 1,200 people right now. Can we all give a blast of light to welcome Mr. Dragon Tan? And for those people, 800 of you in YouTube, don't be so meow. Everybody click a like, please, to welcome Mr. Tan. Don't be rude lah. We have got guests here, right? Okay, it's very difficult.
Mr. Lu lah.
Today, he's out there busy making money, He spend time here means he give up money making for us, You got to reciprocate that with a click of like. What's so difficult, right? So I think we really want to welcome it and thank him for telling us this, because you can read all those reports and statistics, 3 months late, everybody give you woo kind of thing. This is men in the ground fighting in the trench, telling us what's the situation on the ground right now, right? So welcome him, welcome him.
Thank you so much. I also want to thank Sifu lah. Sifu, I think that we haven't told them how we met, right? That was around 4 or 5 years back. One day, I just text this person called Mr. Lu. I want to meet him, and I went all the way to the town area, one of the building. I Ocean, I think it's Ocean Tower.
Odeon Tower.
I think it's Odeon Tower.
Odeon Tower.
So I had to meet Mr.
My
Lu.
office there.
But of course, Mr. Lu is a busy man. He's a business advisor to many setup and many startup. So basically, I waited there for around probably 30 minutes to 1 hour while he's having his meeting at the boardroom. And finally, when I go into the room, the first thing I said, "CC, thank you so much." Yeah, and because you made me realize the importance of 1M65, which I have been started myself. Basically, why I started on 1M65 is not 1M65. It's just that I just know that by contributing, because I'm a self-employed freelancer, all right, by self-contributing, right, part of it is because of tax relief. With no purpose in mind, no sense of purpose, until I went to attend his talk at Suntec City. So I was amazed by all his sharing. And then ever since, I told myself I have a chance, I need to thank him, and that's how I came to him. I met him 4 years ago, and then we become good friends. I treat him like my financial coach as well, my financial mentor. Where could you find a person on earth, right, who try to find all data and info, everything, right, and summarize and give you a video almost every 2 days? And sometimes, right, my wife said, "Hey, what are you looking at in the middle of the night, 12 midnight?" Think Mr. Lu 讲话咯. Yeah, so my wife was thinking that I must be siao, right? Nighttime don't you don't sleep, you go and watch YouTube video on Mr. Lu.
Yeah.
Maybe she get jealous somehow. Yeah. Anyway, other than that, I just share. And then since then, I was a trainer in my agency as well, and I was on many occasions I was asked to give talk and sharing. The number one thing I will share, and the first thing I will share, if some of you are on YouTube and you ever attend my talk at the agency level, you will still remember. The first thing I share is 1M65 CPF, and then I'll talk about Mr. Lu.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm honored. I'm honored. Okay. I'm super honored. I learned. I don't know why he keep calling me seafood when I learn more than him. More from him than he learned more from me, I think. Yeah. But I think it's more important that whatever we learn, we want to share with you. When we share with you, everybody level up to the information so that you may make a right assessment on the ground, right? Because investment is not just, and I've said before, investment must be 360 degrees. There's some money in CPF, some money in stocks, some money in property, some money in bonds whatsoever, right? So it's a 360 degrees. So property is a very important part of our wealth management, okay? And that's why I've always sought his advice, and he always, no matter how much time he spent, how busy he is making money or whatsoever, he always spend time taking my calls, and when I'm back in Singapore, I will give a update to you guys. So he really deserves an extra blast of lights, okay? Maybe we go into now that we know what's happening on the ground right now, maybe I ask a few questions, then we entertain a lot of questions that are coming in, okay? So what do you think, Dragon, that's going to happen to Singapore market, Singapore property market? We heard the sales volume are coming down rapidly, okay, and the interest rate is going up quite substantially, and the interest rate is still going up. The Federal Reserve is still increasing interest rate, therefore the MAS is increasing interest rate, banks are increasing interest rate. At some point in time, property market is bound to be hit, right? Now, what's your view on this?
That's my personal opinion. I think since 2013, the MAS, they introduced TDSR, where they computate the loan amount of the purchaser, how much I can borrow from the bank, using a formula of 3.5%, where the mortgage loan is expected to hit 3.5%. So I think that the government is really forward-looking. Probably there will be a day where the interest rate is 3.5%. So I think right now we are coming close to that. So anything that is because we have already been preparing for this day since 2013. Anything probably hover around 3 to 4%, I guess we are still quite ready. But looking at the recent CPI index of US, I think we're still far away from the inflation around 2 to 3%. They're trying to 8.5 from the recent 8.5 to all the way to 2%.
Very far.
I'm not an economist. I'm not a trained economist. But Sifu, can I reckon that there'll still be few more rounds of interest rate
easily.
Few more rounds.
1 to 2 more percent.
1 to 2 more percent.
Yeah, at least.
Or at least.
At least.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think that we're still a long journey. Is it a long journey? I hope that it's a short journey. If the whole thing is going to prolong over the next 2 to 3 years, where inflation, I think, is not going to be solved overnight. Probably if let's say the interest rate somewhere over around 5 to 6%, then I'll be very curious to know what will happen. 5 to 6%, because all the while we're preparing for the day 3.5%. So anything to me 3 to 4%, probably I think that we still have a stable support. And an important thing just now I mentioned, the indicator, the employment rate, how well is Singapore doing? I think that we are doing good. All right. Right now we are somehow like post-COVID recovery, but in the recovery phase. And then a lot of companies, MNC, are setting up their base in Singapore as well, and offices and plants. Number 2, the rental price. If the rental price is increasing, even though the interest rate is increasing, the landlord may also try to increase their rental. So if let's say the rental price is increasing, I think that the overall market should be quite stable. Because typically I think Singaporeans have this Asian mindset. They believe in property as well. Something that, of course, like depending on individual, some people believe in S&P like Sifu, which is nothing wrong. I think that you can become a multi-millionaire. Yeah. So it depends on each individual, or you can have a portfolio spread across. So the important thing is still the interest rate.
So I think where Mr. Tan's view is that interest rate up to maybe 3.5%, we're still okay. Okay. Beyond that, maybe you start to feel some impact. Okay, if it goes to 4%, 5%. Right now, what's the interest rate?
It depends whether you're taking on SORA, it's a floating rate, or if not, you're taking on fixed rate. Fixed rate wise, you'll be 2.75 over around there. I think for floating, it's around 2.3, 2.4. Probably going to increase to 3% very soon. Yeah. Now, of course, there's some client that I have. That is an old scheme, SIBOR. Wow, it can be as high as 3% with a spread. So it depends on the spread as well.
So in short, we are now, it's very clear to me that the next round where the Federal Reserve is going to increase, they're going to go for 0.75%. So usually Singapore will then take the cue and increase maybe 0.5. Okay. So therefore, we're going to hit 3.5 very soon really. So above that, it's hard to tell. Hard to say, right? So I think we are. I will just, once you reach there, then there are 2 factors, right? One factor is causing the prices to go up, which is all these foreigners coming in, and more will come in because the government policy is a fight for talent right now. All come, I give you employment pass, I give you free, easy, whatever, you just come, right? On the other hand, so that will push the property price up. On the other hand, the interest rate will push your property price down. Which one will win? Hard to say. But right now, the current thing in the ground is that, red hot in the ground right now. Adeline, we are speaking very, very loud right now. I just tested just now, everybody can hear. Can you up your volume a little bit?
Or is it a speaker?
Okay, or maybe you jump to YouTube, 1M65 YouTube, and hear from there is easier. Okay, so anyway, so that's the situation on the ground. I think where what we can see right now, there are 2 competing forces. Hard to say. Okay, I think it's very difficult to judge. But I think from a policy point of view, we really. Oh, my brother is there. Okay, Swim La is my brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Swim La.
Yes, Swim La.
Oh, Swim La.
Yeah. So I think it's thanks. The volume is okay. So really, it's important for us all to take note that there are 2 competing forces right now. I think in most other countries they don't have this force. Like for example, UK, nobody wants to go there right now because it's a bit luan right now. US, whoever want to go would have gone already. So that's why the interest rate impact is felt straight away. We have a cushioning impact. So in that sense, even if the property prices were to come down, it probably will not crash as much as what we are feeling in the European market and the US market. Okay, so maybe you open this time right now for Q&A, shall we? Flood your question in. We'll try to answer them. We'll try to be fast as well. Okay, we'll try to be fast as well. But it's important for you. If you want to ask a question, please, a lot of you in YouTube still very young, give a like. Okay?
There are 900 people, but only 388 likes.
Yeah, that's how you are. Don't be rude to our guests, Gotta give a like to welcome
That's a
him.
support to Mr. Lu lah.
Yeah.
Support his channel.
But most importantly, click follow. Okay, click follow and hit subscribe. Okay, let me ask a question right now. Okay, Bright Chu say, is it easy to sell my 5-year-old BTO HDB by myself rather than go to an agent? Understand that agent earns a low commission for HDB resale, so might not fight over customer for high selling price so much.
And not fight for customer for high selling price so much.
So basically, is it easy for him to sell BTO by himself?
Okay, this is my personal opinion. Typically, it depends on the agent that you are engaging. If the agent that you are engaging, he's a specialist in that particular area or district, he know the ground movement. If he know that the price that you fetch can still be further pushed out, probably if the agent is really a good agent and he's taking for your interest, and because you're the paymaster, you're the boss actually, he will probably ask you not to let go at this price and ask you to hold on a while. Like what I did over the last 2 weeks. I'm selling units. In fact, I have 20 over listing. So for
20 over listing.
So for 2 of the units, which are the HDB in Punggol, and 1 in Sengkang, which I closed today as well. I received offers during the first weekend itself, but because I feel that the response is still warm and good enough for me to push further, and despite the fact that the offer price actually met my seller's target, in fact I asked my seller to hold on, let's try one more weekend because I want to push up the price. So it depends on, and I enjoy breaking record. So this is my conviction because I feel good. I just received a check offer for one of the 2-bedroom unit for my neighbor. I don't disclose where. All the while the transaction around 960,000. I just received a $1 million check just 2 nights ago.
1 million.
Correct. All the while I'm been marketing his unit. Because he's my neighbor, I tell him relax. Once you find your dream home, then I'll start to the I'll start to the market. I'll start to get the right buyer for you.
Okay.
Because upon that, I've been marketing his unit, in fact, since March. The first offer was around 800 plus thousand, 860K. So because he haven't found a unit for himself, I asked him to go on first. Since I'm staying there, I'm staying within the condo, so I can wear my shorts and t-shirt and just walk around. So to me, it's okay. So eventually, around May, I received another offer. That's around 930K. And because he haven't buy something yet, so I said, look here, it's okay, just hold on first. Because I want to push up the price in my condo itself. The reason is very simple. If you really follow my first and second video, I have already shared with everybody on Mr. Lu channel that I'll be doing decoupling. So in fact, back then, if you already followed the previous video that was 5 months ago on 1M65, it's on Property Talk as well. When I say something, I'll do it. I meant it, I'll do it. So in May, I do decoupling with my wife. And what happens is that my wife bought 1 more unit. And guess where? It's within the same condo called The Views. So typically, I have increased my stake double. So when I double my stake in one particular project itself, of course I wish that the price will go up, and therefore I'll do all the best for all my fellow neighbors. So this is the conviction that I given to all my neighbors. Yeah, I just want to push up the price. So every time they got an offer, I ask them, since you haven't bought anything, just hold on, it's okay. Because I'm here in views every day. Until 2 nights back, I got turned to 1 million. They're happy, we move on. And somehow rather, we found something that we like as well.
Wonderful. Okay. I need to advise you to give short answers.
Oh,
because
so sorry.
Questions
I
coming.
think
Okay.
many.
Yeah. Okay. So flood in your questions. If we miss your question, ask again. Don't say. Okay. Yeah. Because once I miss your question, I won't be able to get it again because you just go up and down and up. Okay. So just now there was a question on. So many people asking right now, is it the right time to buy? And another set of people, is it the right time to sell? Okay, whether is it high end, low end, condo, whatever, maybe you can give a general answer for or break down different. Is it right time to buy, right time to sell?
Typically, if you need to start a family, you're the first timer, you need to start a family,
You gotta buy in bopian.
You have to buy bopian. You have to start a family, like it or not, because there's one thing that cannot be rewind. That's your youth, your time. You want to wait for the inflation to subside.
No slides today.
Probably it will take few years, and by the time probably I don't know whether the girlfriend or boyfriend is still around. And it's very common. There's a lot of applicants who go apply BTO and probably apply EC, and especially EC I've seen. Probably the waiting time or whatever is too long, relationship just gets sour. And typically I'll become the counselor somehow.
Really? Okay.
Luckily, fortunately, they tend to be these are the minority cases.
Yeah.
But it really happened. It really happened.
Okay.
So it depends your needs. If you really want to start a family, just buy. Just work out your finances. Make sure that you're not overstretched. But if you're buying for your
Listen carefully, don't overstretch.
never overstretch.
Okay, very very important. Don't overstretch. Okay, next. Yeah, go on.
And if you're buying for a second property for investment, you work out the sum as well. What if you're in your 40s and 50s? What if, okay, what if, sorry to tell you a lot of what if, you have to be confident that even if, let's say, you lose your job, you still can survive for the next 3 years. Why do I say so? Because when a person loses his job, right, next moment, I don't think he'll sit down there and do nothing. Of course, you look for a job as well. So this is basically something that I need to preempt you. Never over leverage, never over gear, and you have to work out your finances. And don't follow. Okay, I've seen siblings rivalry. Do I call it rivalry?
Yes.
Just because the brother or the sister bought a condo, 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom, they also want to buy a 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom condo. And sometimes when I work out their finances, it seems like they are a bit stretched. But it's just like Nancy, they still want to buy a 4 or 5-bedroom condo. So always work out and no need to compare to others. Compare yourself to what you are yesterday. So every day you think that you're improving, your life is improving, your loved one is improving. There's no need to always swim at the condo swimming pool. To be honest, since the last 1 year, I hardly swam at the swimming pool. Probably only 2 times. Just you can easily go to public swimming pool nearby at Sengkang, right? Settle enough. I think they have more facility and more feature. So this is my honest opinion of you. Even my wife till date, probably she has not been to the gym even once over the last 5.5 years. So this is my view.
So I stay in HDB. I spend 80% of my time in hotels. You know, I go buy a condo which I cannot enjoy the facility at all. You know, it's like so
it's a herd mentality.
Yeah.
Probably the best friend buy condo, they also have to buy a condo.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm just asking questions. Advisable to buy a unit under trust? If yes, leasehold or leasehold? Leasehold or freehold?
Leasehold or freehold? Okay, it really depends.
IQ not, they are like, you can answer quickly.
Okay.
In the last 1 minute, 10 questions.
I think that recently there's this law regulating on trust. You have to upfront 35% ABSD. So which
35% ABSD.
Yeah, which is still refundable. And the trust itself, right, must not have any special terms and conditions. It just have to be a print and proper condition that the lawyer has to drop out without any special condition.
Okay.
You have to pay the upfront 35%.
Sure.
Trusts are for the urilang game. Okay, you're cash rich, you don't know where to put your money, or you just go ahead and buy trust. But of course, the property is not meant for you, it's meant for your children or your kid. Alright? Whether is it leasehold or freehold, now assuming that I'm talking about Jurong East MRT, assuming that if let's say there's a 3-bedroom leasehold and a 3-bedroom freehold. Now generally a freehold costs more than a leasehold of the same age, probably the 20% premium around there. But end day, right, the rental is about the same. Because your tenant, your potential tenant, they doesn't care whether is it a freehold or leasehold. What they care is the amenities and how and its proximity to the MRT itself. Because they need to travel to work probably. Alright, so this is my honest view. Can we go to the next question?
Okay, there is a question that's quite common. Do you think the government will whack another cooling measure?
I think the best cooling measure is the interest rate. The best since the beginning of the year. I think that our first video was July last year. Since then, we have already predicted the market. It will be an uptrend. Alright. Of course, the haters comment. That time we did receive haters comment, and I received lucky it's not life-threatening message. I actually received haters comment who WhatsApp me
Really?
saying that I'm bullshitting. But
Okay.
in fact, because I'm on the ground, we know
Yeah.
that what is the market going to be ahead over the next 1 year. Alright? So, so back to the question. Sorry, short-term memory, too
Yeah.
tired.
No, so basically, do you think government will whack another cooling measure?
If the government want to whack a cooling measure, it has to be on HDB.
Why? Why not
HDB
condo?
is meant for Singaporean and it's a public housing. So once you whack on HDB, the
will
condo
affect straight
the
away
condo will
everybody.
subsequently be
I see.
because typically who are the buyer, potential buyer for the condo, the resale condo and the resale EC in the kampong area. These are the HDB operators. So you just whack on HDB, automatically the rest will be cool.
So bottom line is, do you think it will happen? Your view?
Okay, typically for some of you who are always closely update with market updates, project launches, I think last 2 weeks or last week there was a rumor there will be a cooling measure coming. I'm not surprised. And if you really catch the news over last week and this week, year to year, for condo and HDB price index year to year, year on year, August last year to August this year, it has increased by around 10.1 to 10.5%, double digit. If this goes on for the next 7 years, alright, because it's compounding, 10% every year compounding. Wow, better than S&P. It means that what is 1 million today will become 2 million in 7 years later. So I feel that if the interest rate hikes cannot slow down the growth, now typically government will not want the market to crash. They will want the curve to be flattened, or the growth instead of is this concave, right? Or convex?
This is convex.
Or convex, okay. Rather than the curve is convex.
So this is concave.
Concave, right?
Depending whether it's 10 years, 10 years.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I learned that
this called exponential.
Concave, right?
Exponential.
So probably they want the curve to flatten this way, which makes more sense. And something that for our, Mr. Lu say, for our children to catch up.
Yeah.
But there's still a BTO, so 不要担心. And in the whole world, I think that Singapore government is pro HDB, pro BTO. I cannot find another country that's pro public housing.
Yes.
Alright.
Okay. Gotta go real fast.
Okay.
Floating or fixed exchange rate? Fixed mortgage rate. A lot of people asking this question.
Okay. I was talking to banker almost every 2-3 days from various bank. Just last week or 2 weeks back, I was speaking to one of the UOB banker, and she was sharing with me. Right now, UOB came out with a package, hybrid. So I asked her, 什么来的？新来 hybrid. If you're taking a 1 million loan, the 500k can be on fixed, that's 2.75. Another 500k can be on SORA, that's floating. So sounds interesting. So it depends what are you betting on. But typically, if you want a peace of mind, and from what I see, the overall situation, the US CPI versus I think versus to clamp down the inflation all the way to 2 to 3%, I think probably you can jointly go for fixed rate for now. It give you a peace of mind.
Okay, so peace of mind if you want a fixed rate. If you want, you go for fixed rate, you want a peace of mind. Okay, okay. So quite a few PRs in our group here, they ask the same question. So I'm a PR right now. My rental cannot force out. Yeah, I'm gonna force out rental market. So buy condo or HDB better.
Okay, so rental or HDB market? Actually,
not rental. HDB or condo.
HDB or condo.
If they have to buy now.
So back to this. Okay, every time when every buyer asks me, buy which one better? My very first answer to them, how is your budget like? Your finances work out well. Don't overstretch. You can go for condo, all right? And depend on your current state of life. If you think that you're in your 30s, you can jolly go for condo, alright? Because when you're in your 50s, right, at one point in time, probably you want planning for retirement for whatever reason, you still can afford to downgrade to HDB. Or we don't use the word downgrade. These days, you try to be more diplomatic, right size to HDB, so you still can afford to cash out profit from your private property as well. Alright. Actually, it's okay to stay in HDB, to be honest. Yeah, in fact, I ever checked with my wife. Probably one day, 3 to 5 years later, when I still enjoy working, when I really want to take a break, because my pace is really super like a bullet train. So I told my wife, right now I think I still have this vitality and youth. I still can go on for a few years, but one day I want to plan for retirement. I don't mind to go to a HDB 4-room flat facing sea and breathe just breathe normally.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Next question. Please enlighten. This is a good question. It seems that a old three-room flat with decaying lease or maybe 40 years are priced similar price as 5 to 10 years two-room flat. Are there a strong demand for old HDB flat?
Okay.
Maybe you step one step back and they basically say, how do we deal with flats that are 40, 50 years and they are decaying rapidly? What's your view? Sell, change, what?
If you still remember, before the COVID, somebody said this: the older HDB, not all the old HDB will be having this benefit of sales program or being en bloc. Remember? So there was a period of time for that, 2 to 3 years. The older HDB cannot move. They cannot move. The price is declining. Versus to the newer HDB that is around newly MOP or probably 5 to 10 years. So there was a time where I noticed a trend. Every single buyer who actually called me on my listing always ask me, how many years of lease remaining? In the past, buyers don't ask this question. But ever since there was a big hoo-ha on that particular issue, on the decaying lease, the buyers start to ask. However, during the COVID, it seems like everything is going up.
So nobody asks anymore.
So these days, people still ask. It's just that in the past, people say because the property is being old, it's a decaying lease, it's a depreciating asset. But the last 2 years proved everything wrong. Even the old HDB, right, the price in fact shoot up. It's shooting up as well. Why? Supply and demand. There's a shortage. So prices is still going up. So it's about 大环境. Okay, it's the overall environment. Of course, now this is the post-recovery, everything is recovering fast. Now, what happened during normal circumstances, normal circumstances, when everything is normalized? We don't have this shortage of semicon, shortage of this and that, shortage of raw material, China normal lockdown, everything back to normal. The COVID is normal, assuming everything is normal. Everything will go back to normal. Why am I saying so? Human love new thing. You rather buy a $2,000 iPhone from Apple store. Will you buy a $500 iPhone from an ABC shop? Maybe, but not a lot of people. Will you buy a second-hand Hermes handbag, Coach, Birkins, or from a sub-seller? Or you buy a brand new from Mr. Lu? Definitely go for brand new. Alright? That's human. Human love new things. Alright? That's why a lot of old men, they love young girls. And that's why a lot of older lady love 小鲜肉. It's a human nature. This is a universal law. So typically, if you ask me, newer condo, newer HDB, newer iPhone will be selling higher and higher. There will be a premium to pay for newer thing. It's a universal phenomenon. And they will end up selling higher compared to older, maybe 5-room flat, but probably it's 20, 30 years. But probably you find the price of 4-room flat, right, a newer 4-room flat, will be selling higher than an older 5-room flat. I think it's very normal. Even condo as well. The older the condo gets, with decaying lease as well, let's say for example 99 years, even apply to freehold, older freehold. The pool can be a 50 years old or 40 years old. Nobody dare to step into the pool to swim. It's a human nature. So I hope that I understand. Yeah, newer thing always have a better demand.
Okay. Yes, I think that's a good one. I get this quite a lot. Buy resale EC or private condo.
Buy a resale EC or private condo. Actually, and they depend on your needs. Okay, a lot of parents they buy condo these days, right? Basically based on the location of a school where your kids is studying. Other than that, probably is the conveniences of your loved one as well. An important thing is that I've encountered buyers who buy condo, they just buy purely for location. Alright, so I don't really have an answer for that. Is it condo or EC? Because these days, right, EC can offer you the facility that a condo has as well. It's just probably the name is different, EC and condo.
Do you think there's a big difference between condo and HDB? Because the condo tradition in the past has this atas image.
Condo.
Yeah, but nowadays the HDB are all breaking 1 million barrier already, So I don't think people will look down on you say HDB anymore. Yeah, so So some of the HDB have even overshoot the price of condo. So what do you think is the best gauge? Is it location? Is it comfort? Is it atas facility? Whatever. What's the best way to decide? Yeah.
What's my best way to decide?
Yeah.
Okay, typically if you're a first timer, you have to factor in the proximity to your parents. Alright, it can be a condo, it can be a HDB. Because end up you may start to have your own family, your kids. So who will be the caregiver? It can be your parents, or probably you can have a helper. But you need to stay close to your parents, because I believe that your parents still enjoy cooking for dinner for you after your work. So proximity to parents is one factor. And I have neighbors, right, whose parents are staying in Bukit Panjang. So every day, right, they travel all the way from Sengkang to Bukit Panjang, to and fro, just to ferry the kids here and there. I think it's very tiring over the last few years. So ended up, we decided to sell. So factor proximity to your parents, factor who are the caregiver, factor about the school as well. Definitely, probably needless me to elaborate. This is what the parents are looking at. Alright? Yeah, Mr. Luke?
Wait, I'm trying to.
So many.
Okay, so the key issue right now we are facing is a moral question. Is that the price of property gone up so high, so high.
Will it crash?
Number one, will it crash one day? Okay, we kind of maybe touch on that a little bit. But how can the young people afford it? Young people afford it, right? At one point in time, if everything goes up, even our BT will go up, right? And I don't see salary rising as fast as all these prices.
Okay, Mr. Lu, I love to share with you. This is my encountering with the youngsters.
Sure.
I think one of them happened to be your 1M65 fan. So he actually met me a few months back, probably last year, I think December, to inquire me on the Tengah EC, which is launching soon next month. So we did some finances, and he told me that he knew me through your YouTube. So I was surprised, and then it just happened that we meet up for this EC launch. So typically he's in IT and he's around 30-31 years old. The income is already 10,000-11,000.
How old is he?
Around 30-31 years old.
Okay.
So these days a lot of youngsters and a lot of young graduates, if they happen to look for the right trade, I have a friend's son who just graduated from SUTD. Little did I know, I just happen to know from her that all the SUTD graduates are the smart aleck. He worked for James Dyson. The pay is close to 6,000 as a graduate at 25. Fresh graduate, 25 years old. So I foresee that these are the next wave of affluent generation that will support the market, because depend on the trade, really depend on the trade. If they're in the right trade, I think that their starting pay is quite attractive. And these days the youngsters love to job hop. They love to job hop, and each job hop. And honestly speaking, during the COVID, the last 2 years, if you're in a certain trade like banking, finance, as well as in IT, a lot of people are receiving pay rise, 30-40%. So normal. Okay, so right now back to property price in Singapore. The property price is correlated to the general population earnings as well. If the salary is increasing, of course there's inflation now, and then they happen to job hop. Each job hop, the pay increase. I don't see any reason why the property price will decline or will crash. Alright? Now, the only time when property market will crash, I don't mean Singapore. I've seen that in the Euro crisis back then, in Spain, Greece, Portugal. That's where the country has 20-25% unemployment. When the country has a massive unemployment, 20-25%, government is not going to support with all the government aids, right? The property price should crash. Does the property price really crash in Singapore? Yes, it does so. When? It did. Mr. Lu's time. 25 years ago, the Asian financial crisis. Back then, are there any government measures like today, the top 13 measure? No. It's a free market. So everything is bubble. Alright, so when the Asian financial crisis came, the property price actually crashed by as much as 50%, 60%. Crazy. You can see how dirt the price is. But back then there was no measure. It's a bubble. Alright? So I think government learned their lesson well as well.
Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts of everybody is holding on to a lot of condo, especially old ones, hoping for en bloc. Do you think the en bloc figure will come back?
Okay. I love the topic on en bloc. Alright. I think you guys probably realize that the government sales are quite limited over the last 2 years because of COVID. Construction is delayed, raw material is delayed. So this is one issue. So long as the supply is limited, there will always be a growing demand. Now, when it comes to en bloc, okay, just like that. If you find that my sharing is informative, just like for Mr. Lucy, yeah, all right.
For the you like more people to see it for everybody's sake. Yeah.
Actually, your phone got me too, right? Suddenly I feel that wow, my Lori Lanka Chui face right looks so glaring.
No, it doesn't have me too. You're really good looking.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
wow.
you're really good looking.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm in my 40s already. Yeah, I'm so honored. I'm so blessed. I still look good.
You do look good.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, now come back to en bloc. Now, if you realize that during the 80s, if you heard of this thing, probably I would say it's the EC predecessor. Back then, no EC. Back then, it's called HUDC. Correct? I think we have close to 20 plus EC back then, during the 80s. Now, a lot of them has been en bloc. If you notice carefully, for example, the current Farrow Park.
By the way, there's no slides plus one. I don't know why everybody jumping on slides plus one.
Okay.
Okay, it's just a chat, a discussion, a Q&A for everybody.
Correct.
Okay, let's go on. Yeah.
Because I love to take a look at the figures. Okay, so back in the 80s, they are probably around 20 plus, yeah, HUDC in Singapore. And most of the HUDC are meant for the civil servant. Alright, for example, the previous momentum part is the HUDC, right now it's still called momentum part, alright, en bloc. We have the, recently I went to Park Esta because a few of my clients, around 5 of them, they got key. So I went to follow them, a company for some defect check. It used to be called Eunos View. So right now it's called Park Esta. The one at Tampines Court is right now known as Treasure at Tampines. So many of the HUDC has already been en bloc. If you realize that, even the Silver Sea, the one at Marine Parade, used to be a HUDC. I think it's Amber Court, is it? Too many names. All right. Now, right now we have a few HUDC left. If you notice the figure. Now, number one is the one at Bradle, called the Bradle View. Wow, very people of land. I think. And opposite Bradle View has this new project called the Jigscape. Going to be POP soon. Used to be called Shinfu View, HUDC as well. So you see, there's a trend. All the HUDC are being en bloc. What's the reason? Because largely during the 80s, a lot of HUDC, right, they are built on a low density. So there's more room for the developer to increase the plot ratio, the overall gross floor area. They can build more units. So the margin is there. Now, listen carefully. For developer perspective, put yourself into developer shoe. They just want margin. Alright, so currently we have a few HUDC left, Pine Grove, Bradle View, that few.
There's no East one gone already.
Wow, Topiary, not Topiary, Ivory Heights. Yeah. My all-time favorite is when it just opposite Science Center when I brought my boy. I keep looking, wow, this is so convenient. It's called Ivory Heights. Now, question, if you really study the historic en bloc, whether it's condo, boutique condo or HUDC, so far, none of the en bloc collective, there's a collective sales value, the en bloc, has exceeded 1.4 billion. 1.4 billion is the one at the Farrow Road there, called the Farrow Court. I think right now it's called Dunedin. Alright, none. Most of the HUDC that are en bloc, like Park Esta, right now current Park Esta, Treasure at Tampines, they are en bloc at a range of around 900 plus million. Less than 1 B. Reason is because the developer standard, not the developer is rich lah, but typically the developer try to get a smaller project that can be easily sold out within the next 5 years to avoid the ABSD as well, or the QC. Alright? Now, and then if most of the current HUDC that is probably put out for en bloc as well as other larger projects like I think there's one in Marine Parade called Mandarin Garden, easily 2 to 3B. So none in the history of en bloc, none of the collective sales has exceeded more than 1.4 billion. If let's say the project is asking for 2 billion to 3 billion, and because it's too big for developer to makan, I think that the chance of en bloc in the short term is very slim.
Oh, that's a very interesting insight. So in short, en bloc, see how big the size is.
Size as well.
It's more than 1.5 billion. There was some difficulty there. Not say developer no money, but developers is 剩得了 one, right?
The risk they have factored in.
Correct.
So a lot of en bloc owners, a lot of condo owners, however, they think that so long my condo is getting older, the chance is there. There are cases where the owner get older because the condo is old. They are no longer here, but the house is still around.
Okay.
haven't en bloc. There are cases like this as well.
Okay. 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 So, there are a lot of very specific questions. I'm trying to avoid them because we're talking about particularly this unit, that kind of thing. I'm trying to go for more general question first. Okay. Will the record number of TOP affect rentals?
For the record number of TOP effect, I think it will help. To cushion the demand. It's good that we have more supply, but it depends on TOP of what? TOP of condo or TOP of BTO. BTO you can't rent out anyway for the next 5 years, but for condo, yes, you can. But typically for condo, right, the rentals are actually meant for rental. Typically, for the 1 and the 2 bedroom. Typically, these are where investors come in to buy because of lower quantum. For the 3 and 4 bedder, right, typically Singaporeans, they are buying for their own stay. So it depends on what you are looking at.
Okay, why is leasehold CCR? CCR is
For central region, the CBD area.
why is leasehold CCR more expensive compared to freehold CCR, even on a PSF basis?
Okay, it depends
So
on.
I think I can even guess the answer. Okay, but now.
It depends on the government land sales as well. How much did the developer bid for the? Okay, so long all government land sales are all 99, you cannot find any freehold. No freehold. The freehold has to be something that is en bloc. So the sticker is still freehold, alright? But for all government land sales, it is all 99-year lease. So back to the question, I reckon that it's because it depends on the price that the government actually so-called bid for the developer bid for the land, as well as you factor in, because it's a newer project, you factor in the current construction cost, which is getting higher and higher. So overall, I'm not surprised you can find CCR shouting for 4,000, some are as high as 5,000 PSF for certain projects.
Leasehold.
Yes. But
Wow.
who are buying? Okay, 3,000 to 5,000 is the norm. But who are buying? Typically, it's not the average Singaporean. It's not me as well. Correct. And typically, it's the foreign who are buying, and who are willing to pay the 30%. The 30% ABSD. For us, we are the mass market. We are happily staying in area like Kampong, and that's where the community is, and I enjoy staying there. Our children go to
I stay in Kampong.
Kampong, yeah.
Yeah. Which is a better buy? A newly launched, a new launch or a newly TOP unit?
Newly TOP or newly launched? Okay, so I have covered this in the last video. What are the tips? I think back then I shared a lot of tips. You can refer that 5 months back. Now, it's always good to buy in an area where there's a continuous growth. Alright? For example, alright, if let's say the area is designated to have a transformation like a business park, just refer to the last video because I don't want to repeat the whole thing again. Business park, you can consider, because where there's a transformation of business park, it's going to be very powerful in terms of growth. Right? Number 2, if, for example, this particular area, you can foresee that there are continuous future fuel launches upcoming. And typically for the upcoming fuel launches, right, the developer will be launching higher and higher. Why? Because as it goes along the years, the land price will increase. And we factor in inflation as well as the construction cost, everything will goes up. So the future launch will bring up the current launch eventually. It's just about time. It's not going to happen overnight, definitely, with also many measures. It's not like speculation 15 years back in 2006-07. Today I buy a 1 million. I was issued the option for 1 million. Within 2 weeks I can flip for 50,000 or 100,000. This is not back then. Back then people are flipping auction. Now I don't think you have the luxury to flip auction. It's just about buying a big ticket item where you foresee that there's growth, and then you just ride on it.
I see. Okay. Okay, there's another general question I see quite a lot. Landed property. Where foreigners cannot buy. So what do you think of the market? Worth to buy? Will it go up? Will it go down? What do you think?
I have a mentor. My mentor bought a landed in 2008 at close to 1.5 million.
Where and how big?
It's in Potong Pasir area.
Okay.
So there's this Senate estate. So back then, right, the whole Potong Pasir was like kampong like that, all forest. So today you see, take a look at the forest, it's all condo. So typically, what is 14 years ago, 1.4 million, they can buy you a semi-D. Today, 1.4 million can probably buy you a EC 3-bedroom or a condo new launch 2-bedroom. So money is getting smaller. Money is getting smaller. So of course, if you ask me whether, if you think that you can afford and your finances is not overstretched, in the event if let's say you lost your job, you still can sleep with a peace of mind. Okay, for assuming that, you go for landed. Because I still perceive that landed is a value buy because it's limited in supply. I don't think government is selling land for landed so far. But land for condo, yes. If you're looking for a long term, 10, 20 years, I think that you'll be pretty safe. And the price of landed property right now for a semi-D, that you probably need some kind of A&A and some kind of a major
What's A&E?
addition and alterations. Yeah, you need a major facelift. Probably it will easily cost you 4 to 4.5. You're going for brand new 6 to 7 for semi-D.
Okay, I have a question that maybe I take the question. Okay, someone asked, if I'm $1 million and have a name to use for a condo, what choice would I take? Will you take, buy the condo, which is not first choice, or invest in stocks and ETF? Okay, I think the question really is all depend on yourself. What your current allocation of funds is right now. If I assume that your condo is really for investment, not for staying, I assume you have a house for staying right now, then you can look at where your allocation of funds right now. So if you have too much on the, let's say, property, right, then you maybe want to scale more towards the stocks, scale more towards the other assets. So I think a well-diversified portfolio is always optimal for every investor. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. All right, great. Okay, so I'm also mindful of time.
If you, of course, when you buy a
I'm so sorry, guys. The line just went dead. That's the problem with internet.
Okay, I just go back to where I am.
Yeah.
I'm just answering halfway. Now, if let's say you have this spare fund of 1 million, wow, very blessed. Okay, yeah, you're so blessed to have 1 million spare fund, and you're going for a second property. Of course, probably you're buying under somebody's name, your wife or your husband's name, or whoever, fully paid. Now, the current rental probably is around 3,000, 3,200, depending on what you buy, or 3,500, depending where. All right. So basically, factor in not only the overall figure, the overall annual rental, you need to factor in your property tax as well, 10% because it's not owner occupied. You need to factor in your income tax as well. So apart from that, depend on is it a new or older house. If you're buying an older house, the state of maintenance can be more. There can be a lot of leakage. And then whether you want to handle all this so-called clear sheet. Because when you buy an older house, there tend to be a lot of state of maintenance. You need to pay.
Especially for landed house, right?
For landed house, wow, it's expensive. A lot of leakages going on. Auto gate can be spoiled.
Do we do let's say a 20, 30 landed house? How much would it cost?
Well, I think it's very expensive.
Easily
and typically
300,000-400,000.
Typically, I'll just be blunt here. And typically, of course, I was being quote pricing by a locksmith for the same lot. Going to a HDB to change a lot for a common room is $50, but going to a condo to change a similar lot, they charge me $100. So probably the handyman also charge you differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the aircon man maybe charge you differently when you come for aircon servicing, because your landlord, they give the excuse it's high ceiling, it's risky. They double it. Probably one unit is $100 for servicing. I heard that as well.
Yep.
So of course, you want to buy landed. Of course, you feel good, definitely, generally. But end day let's come back End day right, 冷静. We just need a roof over our head. We just need a queen size or king size bed to sleep with your partner. All right, and sleep with a peace of mind. That's all. Yeah, because tomorrow wake up, you still continue your life working and showing. So you just need a room. You cannot. Even the landed has 10 bedroom, right? You can't sleep 10 bedroom per night as well. It don't make sense. So work out your finances. Go for it. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm mindful it's getting late. More importantly, I'm taking up his valuable time right now. Okay. There are a lot of questions. Are you okay if you share your contact with the community? Are you okay?
I can share. Just like the other round, when I share my contact, I really have a lot of questions, but I will have to apologize to some of you sometime because I have
Day job.
for the weekend I'm really very busy. I I have a lot of open house running here and there. So you can WhatsApp me for any question. Feel free. There may be delay. I apologize for that in advance. All right.
This is your number, right?
That's my number. Yeah, correct.
I'll pin it on Facebook.
Correct.
And YouTube. I'll find a way to pin it.
Yeah, I apologize if you happen to be on the YouTube, because last weekend there's a couple who want to meet me since last month.
Really?
Yeah, but I apologize because I'm always occupied during weekend, and they are only available during weekend.
So I think if you text Dragon Tan, when he's free, try to reply you. Okay. Some of you might need his service. Okay. Go ahead. He's a great real estate specialist in this area. Now, if you just want to meet up and have coffee, most of us have no time for that. Even myself. Okay. Most of us have no time for that. There's so I think you got to evaluate that. Let's get real. We're very difficult a lot of people write to me and say, Mr. Lu, can I have coffee and tea with you?
These days the most efficient way is via Zoom. I think that Zoom is the greatest invention during the COVID.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll text. I'll put up the Dragon Tan's number on YouTube, on Facebook right now. Give me a minute. Okay, this is Dragon Tan. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I put on Facebook one premium more already. Okay. Wait. I don't know a pin. Okay. Anyway, the number is there. I'm gonna go to the second. So his number down. Okay. We have got 1,000 more people. Give me a minute, guys. I've put down Dragon Sun number on YouTube as well. Okay, it's in the chat. So please pardon me. I don't know what the hell has happened to stupid YouTube and internet. Maybe Singtel, I don't know. Okay, I really appreciate this time everybody joining us. Okay, so I know it's 1 hour plus really. I don't want to hold back Dragon's time and don't hold back your time as well. This wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining us. Okay, thanks for joining.
Bye.
I'm always reachable at luchengchuan@gmail.com. My contact is all over the internet. Dragon, his number is pinned up already. Okay, so please contact him if you need his service, or more importantly his expert opinion. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, give a blast of light, as a replacement of clap. Thanks for Mr. Tan and his wonderful insights.
Support our wonderful financial mentor.
Okay, and I'll see you again. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay.
Bye bye.
Thanks everybody.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Good night.
Thanks everybody. Okay. This is where I say goodbye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. 再见。Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.